Hey everyone, Zay here. I'm just cutting in early to apologize for the quality of the audio. There was an issue with the mics that Jordan and Jackson were using, so unfortunately we had to use the camera mic, which obviously isn't the best quality. I worked for ages trying to get it sounding better, so hopefully it's still listenable. It is still listenable, but yeah, it's just not as good as what you guys will be used to, so apologies for that. Still a great episode, so hope you guys enjoy. Thanks.
Under the bright lights and loud laughter, a clown performed his tricks, moving as though being tugged by invisible strings, a painted smile cracking at the edges of his dying makeup. Glittering balls shimmered in the air, his oversized shoes squeaking delightfully as custard pies exploded across his face, each act itself drawing the laughter he himself had grown numb to. When the show ended and the tent emptied, he sat alone on an upturned bucket, a sight that would have been sure to cause laughter itself, where he then peeled off his red nose, wiped away streaks of white, his real face coming forward through the mask. The silence of the empty tent was broken as his shoes dimly squeaked as he walked away from the stage, the sound now depressive instead of hilarious.
Still pretty hilarious.
You're not meant to laugh at this. This is sad. The clown wondered why the bright spotlight never followed him out of the ring. He muttered one final thought as he left the stage to return to his life outside. Who ever heard of a sad clown? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Red Thread. As you'll notice, astute listeners of the show or viewers of the show will notice that there is no big giant red border in between us today, much like there was just last week. We're in the flesh together yet again. Except
I still stand by. It would have been good for the editor to just put that in.
Yeah, you still put it in. Yeah, actually, it will block the view
just to keep everyone acquainted with the theme.
It will block the incredible view we have here of downtown Brisbane. Can we say where we are?
I'm telling you, man, immigration is getting out of hand in Queensland.
Yeah,
There's so many Chinese people.
it's starting to look a lot like China. No, that is China. In fact, not only is it China, it is as close to North Korea as we can get. We are in a town called, or a city, I guess. It is actually a city. It's larger than Brisbane, probably.
But I think that they would probably regard it as a town here.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of relativity, yeah, this is pretty small for China standards, and still I cannot see a horizon. It is just buildings as far as the eye can see. We are in the town of Dandong, right on the North Korean border. Not at all relevant to the show today about clowns. We didn't come here to investigate a clown-related thing happening in Dandong. No, it just turned out to be that way.
No, you stay tuned for that, and we will just continue on without explaining why we're at the North Korean border doing this live in some sort of strange, completely unintentional Jimmy Kimmel live setup, except instead of there being Hollywood in the background, it's Ding Dong.
I know.
This was so out of the blue. I'm so happy with this set, and I'm really upset that this isn't our entire lives.
It is actually really awesome, this set.
Yeah.
It's a living room in the hotel that we've booked, not to spoil the surprise, but I love this format of having my own little desk with a little laptop.
Yes.
And you there as a guest.
With your late night show with your one guest every single
same guest. The same guest each week.
Not even the second banana guy in the corner that makes sound effects.
Yeah, no.
I'm just the guest.
No, and our production group behind the camera right now, which is one lone Kira sitting down at the wall, just on her phone, won't even listen.
It would be great if you were in Dandong and doing a Dandong Tonight show, waiting for the cleaning lady to come in and drag us, trying to communicate with her. That's the show. It's the late show on CBS.
So, we're not talking about Dandong, North Korea, China, any of that in this episode. We're here in Dandong for other reasons, which you might see eventually down the line. Well, hopefully, because we flew across half the planet.
I hope you do see that.
So please, yes, hopefully keep your eyes out for that. But no,
I do want this to be the top comment, just in case, the little teaser, so that we know that we've been watching it. I want you to put at our Dan Dong video, I want this to be the top comment. Guys, this is pretty low effort content, TBH.
Nothing would hurt me more. We have spent so long. I know it's not technically effort, but man, it has been a lot of effort to get
It has. It was so much effort to get here. Sorry, we haven't talked about the actual podcast.
It's not relevant. The point is, we're heroes, and we try our hardest to make things here at the Red Thread. And that's why we're doing a Red Thread episode now, even at the North Korean border somehow. We prepared a script in advance, a document, a topic in advance. And as you may have noticed from the preamble, it is about clowns. Why? I have no clue. It was my interest for the last week before the trip, was learning about clowns for some reason, the history of clowns. Not at all relevant to Red Thread, really. Like, there's no real mystery here or anything like that.
Oh, we were talking about evil clowns.
No, I mean, there could be evil clowns in here. But no, it's just a document about clowns.
Okay.
I don't know.
I can't believe that you... All right, just as a little side note, while we're on the plane to China, Jackson turns to me very excitedly and says, "You're going to love this week's Red Thread." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "It's a secret." And the secret has been revealed.
It's a clown episode. I thought you'd relate. I thought you would relate.
Well, we'll see.
All right. So, Chapter 1. What are clowns?
Is this seriously Chapter 1?
This is Chapter 1. To answer the question of what clowns are, we first need to ask, where did they come from? Well, ancient clowns... Well, wait. Where do you think clowns came from?
Italy.
Italy? You think... That's pretty recent.
No, not Italy, Rome. Okay, I'm going to guess that Greece had some form of clown. Did jesters count?
Yes. It's all...
Now that I think about it, I think Native Americans had some kind of clownish figure.
It's all aspects, like gesturing and things like that, are all the same side of the coin. Like, they're different roles that clowns have played throughout time. There is a large...
I can't believe we're talking about clowns.
I told you you'd love it.
I am. I'm very happy about it already. And also, where did they come from?
Exactly. You're going to learn. Well, ancient clowns have been found back as far as in the 5th dynasty of Egypt. That's right, around 2400 BC, making clowns far older than even Jesus. 500 years later, and 4,000 years ago, China's rule... Hey, that actually is relevant. We are here for this purpose, actually. China's rulers at the time filled their courts with clowns. In fact, one such Chinese jester by the name of Yuzhe, who held a position in the Chinese imperial court in 300 BCE, is remembered as having saved thousands of lives when he teased the emperor out of having the other side of the Great Wall eradicated. So clowns are not only for fun, they are actually also historically heroes.
Oh, no. This validates that annoying point that every podcaster in America has of, clowns were the only ones who could tell kings the truth.
I mean, it's true, clearly.
Okay.
Why do you hate
that? I was hoping that wasn't.
Why do you hate that? Why do you hate clowns? Is it just...
No, I don't hate clowns. Well, I'm terrified of clowns, but I don't hate...
Oh, you actually are terrified?
No, I was as a kid. They are scary.
Did I ever tell you...
Are they funny at all? Has anyone ever laughed at a clown ever? It seems like we've been trying to keep this going for a long time. I don't know if maybe... Okay, it seems like kings found them funny.
You know that people always say, like, hookers are the world's oldest profession? It's neck and neck between that and clownery.
Yeah, well, 2,400 BC. I can't imagine there being that many professions back then.
No, it was hooker and clown. It was
hooker and clown, that was it. No builders?
It was a utopia.
No farmers?
It was a utopia. Everyone was having sex and laughing. That's awesome. I don't know how the customers work in that situation, but...
I don't know how there was any form of centralized economy to have a society in the first place, but they did it. And that's really... See, we are learning so much this podcast.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. He holds a position in the International Clown Hall of Fame, this Yuzhe, due to this. It's safe to say that clowns have been around for a long time and across a multitude of different cultures. We're talking about early Greece, 15th century France and Italy, the Pueblo Indian clown societies of the 40s, the Navajo, the Balinese, the Javanese, the Ostiak in Siberia, the Ashanti of Africa, and of course the contemporary American clowns that we all know today. They've existed throughout time, and if there was a human society that brought people together, you can bet there was a clown among them.
Really?
Yep. As far as the eye can see, clowns.
Clowns. That's quite remarkable.
It actually is super interesting. I was like, why?
Yeah, why?
Why? Why do we
Is there theories on that? There has to be.
Yeah. Why is there such an innate desire for laughter in communities or whenever people come together?
No, I get that there would be an innate need for laughter. I'm more intrigued by the fact that they all kind of branch out from clownery. This is the pathway through which every society has thought, this is how we're going to laugh. We're going to put makeup on.
Well, they didn't have
hats.
They didn't have like TikTok videos back then or anything like that, or comedy movies starring Will Ferrell, for example. So they didn't have any way to laugh back then. The only way would have been through clowns.
Like, and now that I think about it, Will Ferrell's hair is quite clownish.
He is very clowny. He's a modern day clown for sure. But why? Why is this the way the world works? Well, nothing elucidates the purpose and significance of a clown more than what Sigmund Freud. I don't know.
Sigmund Freud. That's so insulting. Really, really good for a snarky YouTube title from somebody who's an undergrad.
Yeah. Sigmund Freud. What is it? You just said
a sausage maker.
What is it? Freud. It doesn't.
Freud sounds like a German word for an anus.
Freud.
Yeah.
Okay, Freud.
Freud, I can guarantee you, is like a very bad hot dog for sure.
Sigmund Freud identifies in his 1927. I wrote this paper, by the way, this essay about clowns, by the way, and I still don't know how to say. All right, whatever. Sigmund Freud identifies in his 1927 paper entitled Humor. In it, Freud... Shut up, it's already too complicated. Both halves of my head are fighting right now. It's actually like every time I come across the name, I'm having an internal debate that which one actually was correct. I hate it. In it, Freud identifies dignity in humor. He says, quote, humor fends off the possibility of suffering, which he goes on to say, places amongst the greatest series of methods which the human mind has constructed in order to evade the compulsion to suffer. So basically, our minds were made to suffer, and humor is our only defense. And a way to cope with that. Further analysis by Mario Jacobi in his book Individuation and Narcissism, the Psychology in Jung and Kohut, end quote, from 1990, establishes the idea that humor, creativity, empathy, and wisdom are all archetypal patterns that lie dormant in our psyches, waiting for their chance to develop. Jacobi viewed the development of humor as integral and essential for a healthy human experience. Jacobi specifically points to the fool, like the tarot card image of a fool, or just the general archetype of a fool. He points to that as a key image of humor, for it is the fool who risks embarrassment and humiliation when striving for their individuation. So basically, you are, in essence, a modern-day clown. You do stand-up comedy.
And
you do that as a coping mechanism.
I didn't know we're going to get all Freudian.
So what's your coping?
I suppose.
What are you coping? What are you coping for?
What am I coping for? I'm coping for the fact that it's much easier than acting to break into. That's pretty much it. I think it's just like a long soliloquy.
Well, is it easier to break into than acting because you are naturally funny? Yeah. You naturally have the talent.
No, I'm not naturally funny. I'm just a natural performer, which I think is what probably most of those clowns are. I'll tell you what, I remember reading a very interesting book about humor that was about Israelis, and they were looking at professional Israeli comedians versus just funny people. Comedians aren't particularly funny people. They aren't. They kind of just learn the cheat codes and play them. You're pretty much Ninja playing his game that he's very good at, which I assume is Age of Empires 2. Right, that's
well, originally
the natural sequence to it. Huh?
This is your Freud. Ninja is your Freud, where you can't actually correctly
mysterious gesture figure.
You can't actually correctly.
But he doesn't have that stupid hair.
Say anything about. No, you move on from Ninja. Stop talking about Ninja. It's like the third time you brought him up on this.
Me.
All right. Anyway, yeah. So continue on with your Israeli thing. Israeli clowns.
Well, it was very interesting because they were doing like a personality default of the two. And yeah, they were saying that they would actually play into Freud's theory that it is mostly about sad people using it as an ego defense, because they usually are. And naturally funny people are obviously quite jovial and happy. And I think that those people, I think really a clown, if I'm just spitballing here, I obviously haven't thought about it as much as Freud. A clown is sort of a caricature of those people that we know in our own lives, that I suppose sitcoms, with like the zany guy that's in the group, or in your own group, there's always one guy that always makes you laugh way more than the rest of them, and he's not even intentionally doing it. I think that a clown is probably that professionalized.
Is it fair to say, maybe not about clowns, but just comedians in general? Like you said, you're more of a performer at heart. Are you a comedian then because drawing laughter from people is just the easiest way of performing? Like, it's the easiest way of drawing an emotion out of an audience?
Yes. Well, no, it's definitely not the easiest way. I'll tell you what, I think getting the audience to cry is the hardest thing to do. Yeah. Anyone that's able to do that, that's top tier wanker in terms of performance.
I mean, you could literally, this is horrible, but it actually is pretty easy to make people cry. You could do horrible things. You could bring a dog out on stage and shoot it, for example. Like, there are horrible things that you could do to make people cry.
Well, that's what we were having this argument on the train. Well, I think there's pretty easy ways. There is the humor way of that, which is show your ass.
Yeah, exactly. There's easy ways. There's
the easy emotion. But, it becomes pretty one note.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. So that's the cheap way of doing comedy, is your way, which is showing your ass cheeks. Mm-hmm. And the cheap way of doing crying is killing a dog.
Killing a dog. Killing a dog on stage.
So that's what you do to comedy.
I kill a dog. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's what you do. Honestly, I think that's actually a really good point. I think the reason that I like comedy as an art form is okay.
You like it because you're good at it.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you are good at it. You are, and I will say, maybe it's not fair to say that you're naturally funny. Maybe it's not fair to say anyone is naturally funny, but it's definitely a skill that you have and that you appear to be quite good at.
Well, I'll say one thing. I think the link between yes, and I will add to that point. Finally, after 400 years, someone has something to put into it.
This Red Thread episode about clouds, we have figured it out.
I think, therefore, I am, but also, I'll say this: I think that performance has to be very linked to laughter. It has to be. And that's what I think is any comedian that you ever see that is good at comedy, I think either naturally is a good performer. So I don't think that you're naturally a funny person. I think that if you're naturally a funny person, you have no want to go into comedy in the first place. Performers do. And I think that if you're a strong performer, you can learn like what works on stage to elicit a laugh. But honestly, every comedian that I've ever seen that I thought they're good, either they've gone to drama school or they were a drama kid at school. It's 1-to-1. Honestly, performance is at the core of it. Because it is. It is basically, it's a play. It's a monologue. Yeah. Really what you're watching is a monologue.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have friends that are naturally, like, they know how to draw a joke out of the group, for example. They know how to make you laugh. They know what sensibilities to pluck on to draw a laugh. But again, even those people, like even your funny friends, they're performing in a way.
Yes, I think that those kids, I remember reading a very interesting book about your upbringing and the role that you play in your family. And every child is kind of assigned one. Usually when there's more than a few siblings, so 3 or 4, there will be one that's sort of known as the mascot child. And that's the one that kind of makes sure, smooths over all of the tension in the family. That's their job. I reckon that people that are naturally funny, that's what they are in the family. I reckon they play the role of the guy that smooths out everybody's rawness.
Which is even more kind of to the point of the document. That sounds like almost a coping mechanism for the family unit.
What do you mean?
Like the family smoothing over kind of the bad parts of the family relationships. For example, one of the kids is assigned that mascot value of using jokes and humor to kind of alleviate the tension in the family. That in and of itself is a coping mechanism, surely.
Yes, definitely. And it's a good coping mechanism. As Freud points out, that's the other thing that I think is quite magic about laughter. Look, I like going to bad comedy performances because I'm learning while I'm there. But I will say that probably some of the best things that I've ever seen in my life is a good stand-up show. The ability to be on stage with a microphone and get everybody in fits of laughter for an hour straight is a very rare thing. Not many people can do it well. There's a lot of comedians out there that you watch and you think that was pretty mediocre. If you go to one and they really elicit laughter and you walk out of it, I think that you remember that for the rest of your life. And I will say this, I think that you have to put things into it that you learn along the way. I think that it's always going to be pretty fucking bad comedy if it's just like little anecdotes about your life and that kind of stuff. Like it needs to be built off of something.
Mm-hmm.
And
more of a performance than single one-liners, basically. A string of one-liners that are...
Yeah, I like themes. I like themes.
Oh, you definitely like themes.
I think people can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but honestly, if you go to a comedy show, keeping in mind that it does need to be a performance, you know, to build a monologue for an hour, there needs to be something behind it.
Yeah, some kind of...
I feel like you feel like it's just leaving one that's just a bunch of one-liners. It's like, it's good, but it kind of just feels like cotton candy at the end. You just...
Well, I think, yeah, it's kind of the comedy version of throwing a bunch of things at the wall and seeing which one sticks.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like there's any kind of cohesive thread between all of them that make it more than just watching, some comedian do his 5-minute special, basically, like a type 5, but a bunch of those just back to back.
And that's the magic of comedy. The fact that you can get a point across with it.
Yeah.
Because it does edge out a bunch of things. Man, you got live shows. Now, I've said things that are horrendous that I would not be able to say unless it was couched in heaps and heaps of jokes. Like, now that we're in Communist China, I can say this. One of my shows, for like 10 minutes, I was unironically defending Pol Pot. Like 10 minutes. Like, you could not say that in like a serious lecture. Like, I'm basically making the same point that Noam Chomsky was saying in like the 70s and got cancelled for it. But like, you just been like, you can do it.
As long as you make people laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why does the clown exist across all societies, across all of time? Well, as Michael Barler puts it in his article in the Young Journal titled, quote, "The Clown, an Archetypal Self-Journey," it is the way for nothing more than the individuals and the cultures need to face, survive, and to throw up what can feel like the deadening cloak of our existential feelings of humiliation because of our many human imperfections. So clowns have been, across time, the proverbial shield against the darkness, or conversely, the light that keeps humanity, real humanity, alive. You'll notice that I got very passionate about clowns halfway through the very first page of this document.
Yeah, why did you do that?
I feel like, well...
Why did you get interested in this?
I appreciate laughter.
Yeah.
And I was very interested in what created that, the idea behind that profession in the first place. Like, why do clowns exist? What compels societies to seek out laughter in that capacity? Like, sure, you laugh in a one-on-one family relationships, you laugh in everyday life, but there seems to be a greater desire, almost again on the level of the desire for sex and things like that. There's this desire, this immense societal desire for laughter. I just find that concept really, interesting. Anyway, this simply cannot be understated. I mean, we joked previously about Jesus being younger than clowns, but the implications of this joke itself have been have been studied extensively. For example, David Miller in Christ's Meditations on Archetypal Images in Christian Theology, good read by the way, from 1981, traces a lineage of Christ as himself a holy fool, charting his course through the mythologies of other fools like Dionysus, Pan, Hermes, Silenos, and Polyphemus, and up to modern characters of writers like Joyce, Gannett, Vonnegut, and Green. Using this, he presents Christ as representing the imperfect man needing to be sacrificed as a higher calling towards greater consciousness. Yes, just like the humble clown. This is how serious clowning is. Even David Miller, the man we just quoted, himself a professor of religion and an emeritus, a university emeritus. Emeritus?
I don't know that word.
Emeritus. It's like
I've just read it. I've never really.
Yeah. This is what I mean. This is the issue with reading a bunch. I never learn the pronunciations of things. I only know them visually, like a word. Anyway, he's a high-ranking person at Syracuse University. Well, he sees the clown in Christ and Christ in the clown. So
okay, unpack that for me.
All right. Well, what I think about it, we're going to have to cut that silence while I pass my own writing. What I think about that is that basically Christ was sacrificed, obviously, for a higher consciousness of humanity, like a higher reason for humanity. And I think clowns are similar in that. Well, not I. David Miller thinks that clowns are similar because they sacrifice their own humility in order to achieve a societal greater consciousness. Again, like the shield against the darkness from before. So basically, they are a modern version of Jesus in the sense that they take it on themselves. They take it on themselves, again, at the risk of humiliation, public condemnation, especially... No, we're not talking about stand-up comedians right now. We're not talking about... We're talking about clowns back in ancient times. Like, that is a serious risk of humiliation if you're going to be a public jester, putting yourself on the line for people's cheap laughs. But they do so with the motivation, in David Miller's opinion, of bringing society to a healthier level.
Mm.
And then he attributes that very closely to Christ, Christ-like behavior.
Mm.
So this is a man who really likes clowns as well. As for the word clown, this didn't actually come to be until it was first recorded in 1560 as the word
cloin.
Cloin.
Okay, where's that from? France?
In general, this meant rustic or peasant. The origin of the word is uncertain, but it didn't take long for the sense of the word to refer to the concept of the habitual fool or jester that developed soon after 1600, which was based on the Elizabethan rustic fool characters in Shakespeare's work. So it's a long list of attribution, a long list of references that eventually attached that single word to the idea of a Shakespearean character that always presented himself as a fool. This is the origin of how we think about clowns in the modern context. And again, clowns existed before that. It's just they were referred to in different ways, basically. They were never referred to as clowns. It wasn't until the 17th century, when the harlequinade developed in England, that the word came to be used as a given name on the stock character template. What?
Keep going.
In this,
like things are connecting from year 11. So, like,
well, that's all of
kind of learned a bit of this. Huh?
That's like all of Red Dead. What did you learn in year 11? I never learned any of this. I never took clowny. We did go to a performance art school, so I'm not even joking when I say
Shield. Yeah, no, it was sort of the connections between that and what was developing in Italy around the same time, maybe a bit earlier, of commedia dell'arte and the role of comedy in Shakespeare. This is actually tracking with a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
It is very important to note when it comes to Shakespeare that we think Shakespearean comedy is a comedy because it's not as sad as his tragedies, but it was really funny back then.
Mm.
Really close to what you're talking about now, which is that it was making light of social situations. Far out. Okay. You know how you were saying that there's someone in the family whose role it is to make everyone else laugh?
You were saying that, but yes.
Right. And then you said it, and then I thought, excellent point, Jackson. For reasons that are beyond me. And then you go to a social level, and it's the same role that is being played on a large scale. You need somebody who is making fun of the society that makes it healthier. But that is very much what Commedia dell'arte was doing in what would become Italy, because they were just a bunch of rival city factions, and it was very, very heavy with warfare and tension all the time. That's where that developed. And in Shakespearean times, he had a lot to explain with the development of modern England. But anyway, sorry, go on.
No, that's interesting. And again, those times during, when Shakespeare's work was as impactful as it was, those were pretty bleak times. People were very sad at those times.
Yeah, and it was sort of like the beginning of internationalism.
Yeah.
So the world all of a sudden started getting bigger.
Opening up.
And it was a bit...
Overwhelming. And so, again, like Jesus, someone needed to be sacrificed for the greater good. And that was clowns at the time. They sprung forth to bring laughter to the world, to make them less scared about... Maybe that is why that became such a prominent thing at the time, and why it became the clowns as we know it, or they started using terms like clowns as we know it, is because that was such a tumultuous time period where people really did need laughter.
It does track, especially because you know the theory of humor about benign violation.
No, what?
Pretty much, this is sort of a neuroscience point on humor, but in the neural pathways of a human, fear and laughter are quite connected and close together. And usually what happens is something registers in your brain as being scary, and if it actually is scary, it goes to the fear part of it.
Is that why, like, when you're in a near accident or something, a lot of people's first instinct is to laugh? Like, they'll get through it, and then they'll go like, oh, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah. Yes. And so the laughter thing, I don't know, for whatever reason, kind of developed evolutionarily as a mechanism to say what you just experienced wasn't actually life-threatening. So an immediate reward system in the brain. And kind of like a coping mechanism. It got really close to that. So, look, maybe in scary, tumultuous times, that just naturally manifests as part of the societal fabric of everyone's brains needing that outlet. Fuck. Dude, that's actually a really good point. That's a very good point. I think you're right about it.
Where was I? In these harlequinade performances, the clown was always a bumpkinful or comical idiot who was dressed as a lower-class character in servants' garbs. The now classical features of the clown character were then further developed in the early 1800s, when Joseph Grimaldi, as Joey the Clown, built the character up into the central figure of the pantomime called Peter Wilkins, or Harlequin in the Flying World at Sadler's Wells Theatre. From here, the circus clown developed over the next 200 years, and this modern idea of clowning was expanded into other cultures, once again, due to the opening of the world, basically internationalism. The French, German, Russian, Greek, Danish, Norwegian, Romanian all borrowed this idea and expanding on it while retaining the word clown, which proliferated the word itself, while the Italians instead used the term pagliaccio. Then, in the early 20th century, North American circuses replaced the old village idiot type with tramp and hobo clowns instead. From the late 1950s, the colorful Bozo the Clown became hugely influential, which inspired Robert McDonald in the 1960s, which itself helped create the modern idea of the children's birthday clown. So these are different flavors again.
That's why the original Ronald McDonald was so terrifying.
Yeah, because
it was a hobo.
Exactly. It was based off a hobo clown, but then McDonald's took hold of that idea and turned it into
something that's still quite terrifying.
Terrifying for sure, but gloss over a little bit. But regardless, and then that created the idea of, well, clowns are actually for children, birthday clowns. So if Ronald McDonald He likes
I didn't even think about that before. Yeah, it used to be an adult-themed...
Exactly. It used to be
high satire.
Exactly, yeah. But then through Ronald McDonald and other such clowns, it became a birthday clown kind of pastime. As well as hospital clowning by the mid-1980s, and professional groups like Clowns of American International and the World Clown Association, that's right, they went pro, they're unionizing, helping cement the clown as a serious profession, honk honk. As this bozo-style clown turned into a standalone children's character, it also sparked the darker evil clown trope and the named fear of clowns, which is coulrophobia, which is growing more and more common, which is such a sad state of the world when our only shield against darkness is now a fear for many people.
Yeah.
They just want to bring laughter. They want to say...
There are a lot to answer for, Stephen King.
That's like being scared of Jesus, as we've learned.
Yeah.
He just wants to help. Or she. I mean, the whole idea of evil clowns is very new in terms of the history of clowning. Which a lot of people obviously think of clowns in that scary that scary way. And again, it could go back to the idea of those two things being very connected in the brain between fear and learning, which is quite interesting. But yeah, I mean that in the grand scheme of clowning, scary clowns are a very new concept. Scary clowns like Pennywise and the Joker, I don't know if I really call him a clown. I guess he is a clown. Whatever. Pennywise and the Joker are largely a modern phenomenon and a twist on the standard type of clown. This likely wasn't helped by the mass murdering clown, John Wayne Gacy, who did institutional damage to the school of clownery through his serial killer activity. That's right, John. We're on
What a shame when the clown.
You know, like, John, hand in your red nose and funky shoes. You're off the force. You'll clown no more. Chapter 2. A menagerie of clown tragedy. See, I told you you'd like this one.
Great clown college accident of 76.
It's not all fun and games in the world of clowning.
It really didn't help that all the fire hydrants had rubber stations.
There have been many situations throughout human history where a clown has ended up on the wrong side of the history books, often in tragic and non-hilarious ways. We've collated 9 clown-related stories here today to best show the world of clowning that you might not have ever heard of before, starting with the balloon act gone wrong. So I've got 9 stories here from the world of clowning that aren't funny, because this is the red thread and we have to put a serious spin on it. Number 1, the balloon cage blaze in Ireland, 2006.
Holy fuck, it's real.
What?
Clown Academy accidents.
Well, not Clown Academy accidents, but just
clown-related mishaps.
Clown-related,
gone wrong.
Yes, this is like a top 10 list of clown-related deaths and...
When the laughter stopped.
Yeah. In the small town of Scariff, County Clare, the Royal Russian Circus was touring the area in front of a crowd of hundreds. A 26-year-old clown acrobat by the name of Vitaly Karapovitsky hung from a metal cage that was suspended beneath a hot air balloon, which was drifting up above a crowd made largely of children. His wife, a woman named Sasha, was also a performance artist who was in the metal cage contraption. Suddenly, the balloon that held the whole act aloft caught fire mid-performance. The audience assumed that this was all part of the act and performance, a regular statement you'll be hearing in the other stories as well. However, the burning continued to the point where the cage eventually crashed to the ground, which killed the clown instantly and left his wife injured. According to witnesses, the cage fell on top of the acrobat, crushing his head instantly. After the case, the Irish police and the Health and Safety Authority opened active investigations into the death, and the Royal Russian Circus cancelled shows locally, and Vitaly's body was flown back to Russia for burial. Ultimately, the case was treated as a tragic accident, and no criminal prosecution stemmed from the events, but that is a crazy event to see at a circus. Imagine seeing, some kind of acrobatic clown hanging from a balloon cage, it falling and then crushing his head like a watermelon. That's not funny.
Well, we weren't there.
Yeah,
It might have been one of those you had to be there moments, but Jackson's summation. That's not funny.
That's not comedy. Comedy's meant to make me feel good.
You've brought shame to Clown College.
And in your red nose.
If you can separate it from your brain. If not, we will just consider that a hand.
Number 2, The Perfect Shot, Moscow, 1918. That's right, Russia again, technically. In revolutionary Moscow, just months after the Bolsheviks had seized power, the clown duo called Bib and Bom were packing out the circus, that's a greyhound, with an act of absurdist slapstick humor laced with political satire. Sound familiar?
Yes.
Ivan Radunsky, the leading clown who played the role of Bim from as early as 1891, had made a career of the act alongside a rotating cast of bombs. They had up until a rotating cast of bombs. It's such a funny phrase. And bombs.
Yeah, like bass players in Metallica.
Yeah. They just keep cycling in and out. You could never hold one down. They had, up until this point, spent years mocking Tsars and ministers with their clownery and tomfoolery. They had been incredibly popular due to this, going so far as to be called, quote, the most popular entertainment in Civil War Moscow, which that can't be a high bar to pass.
That is a really good advertisement, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Introducing the most popular act of the Civil War while it's ongoing.
However, after the October Revolution in 1970, the act had turned its needling jokes towards Lenin's new regime, quickly making them frequent targets of censorship and performance bans. On a spring evening in March of 1918, several members of the newly formed secret police, the Shaker, sat in the audience as Bim and Bom launched into one of their skits about the Bolsheviks. Offended, the Chekists suddenly stormed the ring to arrest Bom mid-routine. The crowd, unaware that this was a genuine arrest, roared with laughter. God,
that is funny. That's hilarious. God, I wish I was there for that moment. Man, awkward British humour has nothing on that misunderstanding.
Yeah, it's always misunderstanding. It's got to be... I feel like clowns just constantly die while in front of a live audience. Like, what are the odds of that happening? It's not like they're clowning 24/7. Somehow, I mean, in this situation, it makes sense because they were being arrested for the crime of clowning.
So much devotion of their chi to the passion.
Mm.
That's what's going on.
It's just strange. Yeah, so...
sent to a labour camp?
Huh?
Sent to a labour camp?
Bom quickly realized what was happening, however, and bolted for the exit, leaving Ivan Radunsky as Bim behind. The Cheka officers drew their Browning pistols and fired into the air, sending the packed audience into a panic stampede, while the clowns fled to hide in the stables. They were found the next day, still in costume, and then hauled in for questioning at Cheka headquarters. Some retellings of the events claim that Bim and Bom were shot in the back as they fled, and that their funerals became an anti-regime protest. However, my research seemed to indicate, through reading a bunch of newspaper clippings and such, through Google Translate, that this didn't happen that way, and they actually kept performing right up until at least the Second World War. But they were heavily censored and banned so heavily that they were unable to find the same level of popularity. The man behind Bim, Ivan Radunsky, was clearly he survived the events and eventually died in 1955. The Bom of the Night, a man with the name of Mieczysław Stenewski, continued performing up until 1920 when he left the role. This is confirmed in his own biography, which includes a section titled The Secret Police in the Circus, which sounds like a great autobiography if that's one of your chapters. I mean, your autobiography is going to be fucking the exact same. You are Australia's...
I'm Bim.
Yeah, whatever.
Whichever it is.
Whichever one. Number 3, The Bridge Collapse, England, 1845. In the seaside resort town of Great Yarmouth, William Cook's Royal Circus arrived in May of 1845. This esteemed travelling circus brought with them a bold new publicity stunt, which was designed to draw as many eyes as possible to the local river which cut through the town. The promise was simple. A performer known as Nelson the Clown, his real name Arthur Nelson, was to sail up the River Bure in a common wash tub, towed along the river by 4 real geese, in quotation marks. These geese were to be harnessed to the wash tub, and waddling their way up the river, carrying the bath up there. To break the magician's secret here, the tub was actually secretly tethered to a concealed rowboat further upriver by an underwater lion. The townsfolk, especially the children, were none the wiser, however. On the day of the publicity stunt, the 2nd of May in 1845, several thousand people lined up alongside the riverbanks despite the rain, and hundreds more pressed themselves 4 and 5 deep across the southern footway of the Yarmouth Suspension Bridge, which ran across the river. This view from the suspension bridge, first constructed in 1827, offered the best view of the clown's voyage. And as Nelson and his geese drifted beneath the bridge, the crowd on the bridge rushed to the other side to get a better look, which had the unintended effect of throwing most of the live load onto a single suspension chain. One of the wrought iron eye bars in that chain suddenly snapped, and then a second one over the next few minutes, and in an instant, the deck of the bridge tipped and folded into the river, hurling the spectators on the bridge into the dark water below. 79 people drowned in the event.
Wow.
Making it the worst recorded disaster in the history.
In what?
In the town's history. Probably
in the town's history.
Probably
Clown-related.
It's got to be
a lot of
They had a lot of dead bodies. Most of them kids, unfortunately. After the collapse, there was a coroner's inquest the very next day, followed by a formal government inquiry led by James Walker of the Institution of Civil Engineers. I don't know if I read it, but he was going under the bridge. He was going under the bridge, and obviously all the people on top followed him over to the other side to get him, and that's to spot him coming out the other side of the bridge. So that's why it tipped, and so he just missed it, basically. Like, it tips.
And he saw it happen.
The clown's looking behind him as all these kids and
oh my god. And then realizing this clown's got to fly. Much to the geese. We were also so worried that they didn't swim, they flew away.
He's a little wash tub.
Hilarious Father Christmas.
His little wash tub slowly sinks. Now that they've flown away. I don't know.
What did he say about it?
I don't know if that clown could realistically ever clown again. Yeah.
That was it?
I mean, could he? I don't think so.
So he never said anything about the event?
Well, we'll finish reading. We'll see.
Okay.
This was written 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. After the collapse, there was a coroner's inquest the very next day, followed by a formal government inquiry led by James Walker of the Institute of Civil Engineers, which ultimately concluded that the failure was due to the defective welding and poor quality iron that was used in the suspension eye bars. Some very final destination shit right there. Ultimately, no one was criminally convicted, as the disaster was treated as a catastrophic engineering and workmanship failure rather than manslaughter. Later, however, a test case using the victim Louisa Utting was conducted civilly, where a jury ultimately concluded that her death was due to the defective welding, obviously, which effectively established legal fault for compensation purposes, but they ultimately also opted to not assign guilt to any individual engineer or owner. The clown, Arthur Nelson, would go on to keep working in show business, and later accounts still describe him doing the same wash tub and geese stunt for many years afterwards.
Hoping for a haul that big once again.
Just trying to up the kill count. Trying to live the glory.
I gotta say, you've got to work on your act after that.
Yeah, mix it up.
At least put in 6 geese. Something. We can't even do the same thing after that.
William Cook's Royal Circus, meanwhile, shut up shop in Great Yarmouth immediately before decamping to London, where they then went back to touring as if nothing ever happened. It's show business, baby. It's just the way it is.
You got to keep the laughs going. I cannot believe.
Well, they need laughs now more than ever, really.
Laughs that act as not just stress testers for society, but infrastructure.
Real quick, is your microphone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was checking the Number 4, No Encore Island, 1889. By the late 1880s, Ireland's most beloved circus attraction was a middle-aged singing clown from County Clare called Johnny Patterson. He was called the Irish Singing Clown, and Patterson had spent decades at this point touring Ireland, Britain, and even America in the 1880s. That's a well-traveled clown. where he performed crowd pleasers like The Garden Where the Prairies Grow, as the campaign for Irish Home Rule, which was Charles Stewart Parnell's push for an Irish parliament within the United Kingdom. It split towns, churches, and even families into opposed camps. Patterson let his acts become explicitly political. He wrote a new song, Do Your Best for One Another, which was an appeal for Catholics and Protestants of all political persuasions to forget their quarrels and live together in peace, with a chorus that pleaded for no more rows between neighbors. This messaging was ignored by many and even seen as ridiculously aggravating by some. How dare you talk about kindness and burying the hatchet? That makes me mad. I love that shit. It's great. It's human nature.
He inspired the IRA.
This message, in the spring of 1889, playing at Keeley and Patterson's circus, he stepped into the ring to sing his unity anthem before brandishing a green flag in one hand and a red in the other as a symbol of the two opposing factions. Again, to go back to it, like they really are. The light in the dark clowns are. They're trying to bring society back together.
Yeah,
and trying to heal society.
That's true. During the Troubles of Ireland. That's in every scenario except the guy that broke a bridge, which I suppose is sort of the 1930s equivalent of like Johnny Salami, whatever the fuck his name is.
The Twitch streamer.
What?
The Twitch streamer.
Yeah, he basically, that's what he is. He's a kick streamer. He is a kick streamer before
streaming. He was a bad clown.
Yeah. He was the bad boy of the clown era, but other than that...
Oh, man. Is that what clowning has become in the modern years? Kick streamers?
Well, they are very clownish, don't you think?
Yeah, but they're evil clowns.
Yeah.
It's like clowns, but for...
We manifested them into reality.
Yeah. They're like... It's like clowns gone wrong. It's like they've... Instead of their motivation being a modest income as well as making people laugh, smile, and healing society, it's become infinite money and attention.
Just being infinite money and getting it by not even pranking, just being a public nuisance.
The clowns have failed, but society has become too sick. Even clowns can't save it anymore.
Yeah,
in fact,
they are a reflection of it.
The clowns are now infected by society.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I agree.
And also it doesn't make sense. The jeering immediately turned... Sorry. For a section of the crowd, this joke with the two flags was unforgivable. The jeering immediately turned into a full-blown fight, and in the ensuing melee, Patterson was struck on the head with an iron bar and kicked endlessly. He was immediately taken to the local hospital, where he then passed away just days later. The death register recorded pneumonia as the cause of death, but later accounts insisted that the illness followed directly from the beating. No successful prosecution over the assault was levied, especially given his death being from pneumonia. The Keeley and Patterson show tried to carry on without him, but the business diminished rapidly shortly after, and the circus soon disbanded. Within 6 months, Johnny's widow, Bridget, had married the owner of the show, Joe Keeley. What a bitch. 6 months?
6 months.
That's fucked. You know she was banging them already.
Yeah, totally.
God, what a bitch.
You suck.
However,
Irish woman.
However, he too passed away not long afterwards.
Yes, following some vengeance.
Following that man's death, Bridget then later remarried one of the other clowns.
Oh.
She's such a good type.
Yeah, she does, doesn't she?
She loves to laugh.
Far out. Who gets turned on by clowns? For the listeners at home, Jackson sheepishly raised his hand.
I mean... Sexy women clowns?
Sexy female clowns.
Wait, I can't Google that over again.
No, we already know what it is. It's Harley Quinn.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. That's hard. Following his... then Johnny's son went back into the circus world, running his own show for years, continuing the clowning legacy that his father had left him. Johnny is remembered now as one of the island's greatest clowns and songwriters.
Well, he was definitely that.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. What a difference he made.
Yes.
Ireland has
Can you imagine how troubling the Troubles would have been without him?
Number 5. Spin to Win, the United States of America, 1854. In the gold rush era of San Francisco on the evening of January 10th, 1854, a small Spanish theatrical performance was being held on Stockton Street. There, a young 13-year-old Cincinnati-born boy by the name of William Snyder was peddling candy and peanuts in the crowd when he was suddenly grabbed without warning by a performer by the name of Manuel Reyes. The clown, described in newspapers of the time as mentally defected, was performing the show and thought that this would be a funny antic for the audience. However, for reasons never clearly explained, Reyes seized the boy by his ankles and swung him round and round endlessly while the audience cheered and laughed. By the time he let go, people noticed that blood was pouring profusely from William's mouth. The child was quickly rushed to the local hospital, where he soon died. A post-mortem examination found that the death had been caused by a rupture of the left pulmonary artery, and the coroner's jury recorded the verdict of accidental death. Reyes was arrested for murder, and his case was ultimately set to the grand jury. I wonder what a clown's like in a court setting. Do you think he went in with...
I hope he did. He's really an embarrassment to the art form if he doesn't.
It's a pretty good defense as well. If you can make the judge smile.
I guess that's going to
count for help. It's definitely...
They're still human beings.
Yeah.
They'd like a laugh. Also, going into a court... Maybe I'm just getting too infected by Joker culture. But... It really feels like you're pleading insanity immediately. Do I need to say anything?
Yeah, I'm a clown judge. Look at me. I'm clearly insane.
Yeah. I was doing a bit.
That kid ruined my joke. If he was alive, I'd kill him.
I'd kill him again.
And it'd be even funnier.
And then I'd kill him again after that. And then I'd stop because I'm a firm believer in the rule of three.
I didn't want to beat the joke to death.
Yeah. I have my limits. I'm all for killing, but not overkilling. It's really not. And honestly, I think it's really quite a good defense if you are a murderous clown to go in as a clown.
Yeah. It can't
really,
hurt. It can't hurt, probably.
I don't think it would. I think if anything, it would help you go to an insane.
Well, so it would absolutely hurt if you failed to make the judge laugh. Then you're just a guy in a silly outfit.
No, I still think then you freak him out and you're an evil clown.
Oh, and then
that helps.
Yes, insanity, yes. And every insane asylum needs their clowns.
They have to.
Legally, the case was ultimately sent to the grand jury, but no indictment ever followed, and the matter quietly disappeared. Legally, the clown walked away untouched from this event. However, from my research, I found reports that seem to insinuate that Reyes did find himself in trouble with the law a few years later, when he assaulted a police officer, with witnesses alleging multiple murders as well in the US and Mexico.
Whoa.
What a bad boy clown. He ended up being declared insane and committed to Stockton State Hospital in 1859. He was then eventually briefly discharged. Then he was recommitted in 1865 before dying there that year. What a life.
I want to know more about this man.
There's very interesting little anecdote there. Number 6, a cold-blooded killing, Colombia, 2007. More recently, in February of 2007, in the border city of Cucuta in northeast Colombia, a small traveling outfit of performers called Circo del Sol del Cali.
How many souls and dills.
I love that. I love it. That sounds awesome. It sounds delicious.
It does, actually. It sounds like a nice...
like a dip or something.
Oh, you dip?
Yeah, I was thinking dip.
What's the Italian word for ice cream? I can't believe I've forgotten it. Gelato. It sounds like a gelato flavor to me.
Or a cocktail. A nice cocktail.
Yeah.
Anyway, this group of cocktail merchants pitched their tents in the working-class neighborhoods of Panamericano.
Ooh.
Intending to sell cheap tickets to families who couldn't afford a circus, they based the night show around two young clowns, 18-year-old Willington Villamazar Leal, known in the ring as Roni, and 24-year-old Nelson Nunez Robledo, billed as Andre. At near 9:30 p.m., Andre was performing in the ring in front of the crowds while Roni was working the door. Suddenly, in the middle of the performance, a man walked straight into the ring from the bleachers and shot Andre in the head at point-blank range, killing him instantly. The parents and children that made up the crowd immediately started screaming for the exits, and seconds later, at the ticket booth outside, a second gunman opened fire and Roney collapsed from the bullet fire. Unfortunately, Roney died the following day in hospital. The local police chief was quick to insist that, quote, the killings had nothing to do with the show, the victims were performing at the time, end quote. Though it was clear that the two were targeted specifically, as there were no other victims and the murder seemed premeditated, though ultimately the motive remained unclear. Within days, the police arrested a 21-year-old suspect named Walter Bautista, nicknamed My Fish. That's a weird nickname. It is literally just My Fish. That's his nickname. My Fish.
No explanation for why?
No.
That's it.
Fine. Just My Fish.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a real inside joke.
Yeah, if only we could understand it. My Fish.
Do you look like one? Some people do look like fish.
He didn't look like a fish.
Oh, you see it?
I've seen a sketch of him.
Yeah, okay.
Not very fishy. No gills. I saw no gills, no scales.
Yeah, but maybe that was a caricature of it when they drew out the gills.
Yeah, they felt bad for looking so fishily. So he was arrested on charges of double murder and weapons trafficking. Unfortunately, I couldn't find information about whether or not he was convicted, and the double murder has remained unsolved in terms of motive. At least, it hasn't been explained. Following the murders, marches and protests took place across Colombia with acrobats, lion tamers, and clowns across the country observing a minute's silence in memory of the two murdered clowns, lest we forget.
These are great stories.
A lot of anecdotes. These are great, yeah.
And what, they're all from 18-something?
No, that one was from 2007.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of changes it in my mind. And I don't know. I think it might just be the fact that anything from the 1800s just kind of looks nice and sepia-toned in your head.
Yeah, like an old film.
Yeah.
A Final Fall, number 7. A Final Fall, South Africa, 1984. By the early 1980s, Mexico's superstar clown, Chuchin, real name Jose de Jesus.
I can't believe that there's a superstar clown in Mexico, and it does sound fitting.
Chuchin. Real name.
That's not a funny name.
Jose de Jesus.
Now that's a funny name.
Murillo. That is such a long name.
So many. And there's so many stereotypically Mexican names crammed into one. That his name is a clown car of Mexican names.
Jose de Jesus Medrano Murillo. That sounds like a cocktail. He was the kind of circus act whose name could headline an entire clowning season on its own.
I can't believe that there's a thing.
Big clown dick in the room. Swinging around.
What the hell? Well, you can sell out stadiums for a clown in Mexico.
A superstar clown. Chuchin. Well, he was a seeing acrobatic clown. A seeing acrobatic clown who had risen through circuses like Circo Bell and Circo Ataide to become their first non-family star attraction. He was most famous for a very particular high wire routine, a bicycle ride across a wire strung high above the circus arena, performed without a safety net below. Why not? Why not? Just put the net there. It doesn't really change the performance.
At all.
Like, it's not more or less impressive because there's no net below it.
No, I don't think so.
You can probably already see where this is going. In May 1984, Chuchin was touring South Africa as the main... See, they're fucking international. They're touring.
I can't believe this.
Clowns are...
I mean, we all knew about Bozo and Ronald McDonald, but that was it.
Clowns are a big deal. In May... You should have gone to clown school.
If I was born in Mexico, yes.
In May 1984, Chuchin was touring South Africa as the main act at the Royal Show in Pietermaritzburg. Chuchin mounted the wire again, pedaled his way across on a tiny bike, and stepped off to the sound of thousands of spectators applauding his daring act. Do you think clowns got pussy? Like, women are throwing their used pants on
No.
women do find funny men. Like, if you're a funny man, you have an easier time with women naturally.
Don't you think that there's a limit?
No.
No.
None of it.
So you think that clowns fuck?
I think the clown's fun.
You think clowns get mad pussy like rappers do and DJs?
Maybe even more. Rappers aren't very funny.
That's your theory, is it?
Rappers aren't very funny.
What, you think all these Victoria's Secret models? No, leave the wig on. All right, but I colored it the same as my pubes. Oh, that's getting me so wet. I'm bringing in all of my French. Achie. And then his bow tie goes, beep, beep, beep.
Yes, I think
This is how you think the world works.
I think that.
You think Chuchin's getting all of that Mexican pussy?
I don't want to believe in a world where that doesn't happen.
Less joy in the world?
Do you think if Jesus came back, he'd get mad pussy?
Oh, yeah.
See, well, it's the same thing again,
No.
as we've established.
Well, okay, no, look. Jesus wouldn't want mad pussy because he's Jesus.
Is that what?
It's the cruel irony of being Jesus.
Is that the strategy that he uses to get pussy? He pretends like.
I mean, a lot of guys with long hair seem to use that strategy. There seems to be a lot of second comings.
Nice.
They do that. There's always like a man might have a socialist twinge or a hippie tinge, or a cool Christian guy tinge. But yeah, they all seem to be played with the same playbook. Clowns, I think, are too funny.
Too funny for pussy.
I think that there is a point where you start being women.
Oh, because all the
women in the audience, let us know. Does that turn you on, clowns? Because I'm going to guess no. I'm going to guess
yes. Are you saying that laughing too much? What is that? The opposite of a turn on? Like all the moisture from your pussy evaporates or is sent to your up here to lubricate your throat because it's hurting from laughing?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I think that's what you're saying. I think that's exactly what you're saying.
I feel like I've really failed in communication on this one.
I don't think I failed in biology. It's clearly connected by one tube.
It's one tube. Look at that's Jackson's understanding of the womb and the system. It's pretty much just a slide that went wild.
Yeah. Went wild is right. Chuchin mounted the wire again, pedaled his way across on the tiny bike, and stepped off to the sound of thousands of spectators applauding his daring act.
Very cool.
His act was over, the danger had passed, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. However, ironically enough, it wasn't during the stunt that tragedy struck. As he began his descent, he placed his foot into a looped rope hanging from a large hook on a crane, the standard way he was usually lowered back to the ground. This time, however, as he put his full weight on the rope, the spring-loaded clip caught on the wire, snapped open, and the rope slipped free. In an instant, the clown dropped an estimated 25 meters to the floor. Immediate attempts at resuscitating him were briefly successful, but he later died in hospital from a severe internal chest injury, including a ruptured heart. An inquest was eventually conducted, and the findings were that it was an accidental death caused by mechanical failure.
So many accidental deaths seems clown related.
Vicious in the...
Oh, what, do you think there was someone else that wanted his winged as the superstar clown in Mexico?
Yeah, well, you gotta look up on that. That's suspicious. His ashes were returned to Mexico, and his son later took up the name Chuchin in his honor.
Oh.
And
I'm sure it wasn't a cash grab.
Where was the son on the night of the murder? I mean,
yes. Interesting question. And did he live up to his father's... Well, they're big shoes to fill, literally.
Is there a rule that there must always be a Chuchin in Mexico or something? Like, why is that? Why did he take that name? I guess in honor.
Not in honor. It's all the marketing that comes with it.
Yeah, it's the money. Number 8, The Sunshine Clown, Rostov-on-Don, 2016. This is the kind of positive one. By the time he reached his 80s, Oleg Popov was less of an actual circus act and more of a living relic of a time-gone era. Born in 1930 outside Moscow, he had come up through the post-war Soviet circus schools as an acrobat and wire walker. Then he reinvented himself as a clown with straw yellow hair, a battered checkered cap, and a style of a mime that seemed to Western audiences like sunlight breaking out of a bleak country. There was a French critic who christened him, get this is the lamest name ever, Le Clown Soleil, or the Sunshine Clown. which was the day he became best known for. I was fine with the Sunshine Clown, but as soon as the French involved themselves in this with the Le Clown de Soleil, stop making laughter lame. Stop making clowning lame.
Yeah.
Anyway, he became an unofficial goodwill ambassador for the USSR, appearing as a smiling, childlike figure that made the Soviet Union seem, for at least a few minutes, less forbidding and depressing. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, he settled in a small Bavarian village in Germany with his second wife, Gabi, performing under his own Moscow Circus banner. Then in 2015, he finally accepted an invitation to return to Russia for a gala in Sochi, where he was met with standing ovation. The following year, a full tour of Russian circuses was organized, and it was during this triumphant tour that Popov arrived in Rostov-on-Don, and on the night of November 2nd, 2016, he had finished another show in the local circus ring, before another crowd giving him a standing ovation. Everyone loved him, before he then walked back to his hotel, where he sat down comfortably in an armchair to watch television. He never got up again, dying of cardiac arrest at the age of 86. In full glory, as the official obituaries have said, having always done the thing that he had loved right up to the end. His coffin was placed in the center of the Rostov circus ring for a public farewell before it was flown back to Germany for burial.
Should have just left it in the ring.
Yeah, just
should have buried him right in the
center. He wanted to perform forever.
Yeah.
That was a nice story.
That was cool.
I like that.
They're all nice stories, especially one in the That all made me laugh.
Is that how you want to go out? Do you?
Yeah, I've often thought about that, and yes, I wouldn't mind having a heart attack on stage and dying.
It's not a bad way of dying.
It's not a bad way of dying.
Scar as many people as possible you're wearing.
Mm-hmm. Take them all with me. Little piece of their spirit as little stepping stones to heaven.
Make sure they can never laugh again.
Oh, it'll be the show to end all shows.
A real showstopper. Number 9. Died to the Sound of Laughter, 1984 in London. On the 15th of April, 1984, British TV audiences tuned in to Live from Her Majesty's, which was a London weekend television variety show that was performed live from Her Majesty's Theatre in the West End. Among the bill for the night was a man named Tommy Cooper, a towering Welsh comedian magician whose entire act was built on tricks that went wrong and a body that seemed perfect for this brand of slapstick comedy. His red fez, lumbering frame, and wheezy laugh had created an extremely memorable character, and he had quickly grown an audience of his own. Midway through this particular performance, an assistant helped him into an oversized cloak for a sketch while the host, Jimmy Tarbuck, waited just behind the curtain with props that Cooper was supposed to magically pull from inside the gown. Cooper said, "Thank you, love," to the assistant, and then as millions watched live on television, his face slackened and he pitched backwards against the curtain, suffering an enormous heart attack live on air. There you go.
I've seen the footage.
Yeah, was it pretty horrifying?
No. It honestly looked like he was doing a bit. And the audience is laughing.
Yeah, for a long half minute while this happened, the theatre audience laughed the entire time, assuming it was just part of his slapstick humor. Relatively quickly, however, the director had registered what was happening and the show shifted to an unscripted commercial break. Tarbuck's manager and crew dragged Tommy out of sight, and the next act, Dustin G. and Liz Dennis were told to go on and perform in front of a slightly shifting curtain while the paramedics worked on Cooper on the other side of it. The show must go on.
Really?
Yeah, they performed on the other side of the curtain while he's like being resuscitated.
I did not know that was happening.
You would think that would just stop it, right? Like, all right, everyone out. The guy's dead.
Yeah. We're stopping the show momentarily for retooling.
Yeah.
I will say this. Kind of cool that they continued on. It is quite poetic.
It's
what you were saying before. The show must go on.
It's what he would have wanted.
Truly living up to.
As a clown, it's what he would have wanted. You would have wanted people to continue.
Sending the clowns.
Yes.
Send
in the clowns as they each die in more horrifying ways. More clowns, more. Has there ever been like a clown genocide, as in like a genocide against clowns?
What is in there? Just that
we're done with clowns. Everyone that's even remotely funny is executed on the spot in our country. or city.
Well, you always you thought that was the case that was happening in the Soviet Union. It doesn't sound like that at all.
Well,
It sounds like even with the Biff and Bill or whatever they were called, Beam and Bomb, they were allowed to continue to perform,
just
not at a huge capacity. And it seems like the Soviet Union came up with its own form of like, this is official hilariousness as approved by this book. Then that became its own kind of comedy. Like, I wouldn't mind saying that Soviet clown.
Just the saddest clown ever.
It's actually an amazing thought. Honestly, I'm going to YouTube that when I get back up to my own room. Soviet clownery sounds great. It's very much like in The Simpsons, you know how there was Itchy and Scratchy, and then they got the Soviet equivalent, Worker in Paris.
Yeah.
I think that would be what it's like.
So he was taken by ambulance to Westminster Hospital, where he then was pronounced dead on arrival at the age of 63. And that ends...
He died too young.
That ends our hilarious episode on clowns.
Let me finish on that.
I hope you've learned something from this, because I sure haven't.
I learned something. There seems to be an inordinate and strange correlation between clowns and heart attacks. I don't know why.
They live stressful lives. Do clowns laugh? Do they find... Because, again, like Jesus, I think they sacrifice their own self-defense.
For the defense of others.
Yeah, for the defense of others.
It sounds pretty sad being a clown at
it's like Robin Williams. Remember, like he was funny, man, but he was very sad.
Well, I think that what really was happening with Robin Williams.
Oh, here we go.
He was all that you were ever seeing was a manic depressive, and he was in a manic episode when he was on stage. And I think his true skill was the fact that he could like bring out a manic episode in himself while he was performing.
No, I disagree. I think he was unable to laugh. He didn't have the tool that we have, where we can look at funny people and laugh and then not be as sad. He didn't have that.
Didn't have that?
He didn't have that.
Jim Carrey? Probably the same, actually.
Probably the same, yeah. It's a sad life as a clown.
Yes, it is.
Well, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time on Red Thread. Remember, official Dom Man for 7-day free trial to all of our shows. And with that membership, you get very early access to those shows 5 days in advance. We usually answer questions from the audience. Didn't prepare any this week, but we will next time probably. Well, once we get back from China, this international trip probably, because it's very busy at the moment. But yeah, if you sign up, you can ask us questions and we'll answer them live on the show. Other than that, Jordan is actually going back to Australia at some point. And he will be doing live shows and self-help seminars.
In Brisbane, Melbourne, Darwin. And then I think I'm going to New Zealand at some point, so stay tuned for that.
So, buy tickets, and you can see a real clown in the flesh. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Till next time. Now
This was Stand Dong Tonight.
Yeah. Bye, guys.